The narrative I'm going to be retelling is The Black Cat by Edgar Allan Poe. It's a good story from one of my favorite authors. So basically, just a background on the main character. This guy, the author doesn't specify his name or anything, but this guy, he was a very, I guess he was a very good kid. His parents, his parents took good care of him. They really loved animals. They had a lot of animals and stuff growing up, and so that kind of nature followed into his adulthood. And so he gets married, and he has a wife, and stuff. And so they have a lot of animals, and they've got dogs. They've got some other things, maybe a horse, I believe, and maybe some chickens. And they also have a cat, and they have this black cat. And the cat really, really loves the guy. The cat is very taken to him. And so basically he starts drinking. And he's going to the bar every so often. And he comes home really, really drunk, and he's getting very violent. And he starts to get really violent with his wife, and then he starts to get kind of violent with the animals. But he never really hits them or anything. He's just a really angry kind of guy. And so one night he comes home from the bar, and the black cat is there, and the cat accidentally scratches him. He tries to pick up the cat, and so the cat doesn't want to be picked up, and he scratches him on the arm, and the guy gets really angry, and he pulls out his knife, and he cuts the cat's eye out of its head. And the cat, obviously the cat is scared, and it runs away and stuff. And so the next morning, the guy wakes up, and he doesn't really feel bad about it. He doesn't feel any remorse. He doesn't feel good about it, but he doesn't feel bad about it. And obviously the cat is terrified of him, and the cat is avoiding the man at all costs. And so during that day, he's kind of just thinking like this cat didn't really deserve that, but he's still not feeling bad. He's just thinking, this cat didn't really deserve that. I should put it out of its misery. So the guy decides to hang the cat on a tree outside of their house. And he does that. And he's standing there, and he's still not feeling bad about it as the cat is hanging, on the tree outside of their house. And so he goes to sleep. He goes back inside, and he's sleeping with his wife and stuff. And he wakes up, and there's a fire, and his house is on fire. And it makes it seem like it's kind of like a freak accident, but you're kind of thinking like that's not really a coincidence. That's some kind of outside forces, working against him. And so he gets his wife, and they run out of the house, and they go somewhere else and stuff. And the next morning they come back to the scene, and everything is burned down except for one wall. And the one wall is the wall that they had their bed pushed against. And all of their neighbors and everyone in the town and stuff are running up to the wall, and they're looking at it, and they're looking at all the wreckage and stuff. And the couple go up to the wall, and the first thing that they notice is that the cat is not hanging on the tree anymore. The cat's gone. And on the wall there's I believe it's maybe burned into the wall, a picture of a cat, and the cat has kind of like a cutout looking eye, and it's got a noose around its neck. So that happens. And so the guy's kind of thinking, he's like, well, why is this happening? And so he kind of just deduces that he concludes that someone was pulling a prank on him. And he says, well, the cat's not on the tree because someone must have pulled a prank on me. They took the cat off the tree, and then they did this little drawing on our wall just to mess with me. So they go back, and they move into a new place and stuff. And so the guy is at a bar one day, and he sees a cat. And the crazy thing is that this cat looks exactly like his old cat, except that the cat has a white mark on its chest. The cat is the same size, it's the same color, and it's got a little crazy looking eye on the same side that the other cat had his eye taken out. And so the guy takes to this cat, and he decides to take it home. And his wife loves the cat loves the wife, and the cat ends up loving the man too. And so they're all, you know, happy together and stuff. And so the guy starts to kind of be really uncomfortable with how the cat has taken to him, just like his old cat. And it's kind of annoying him and stuff, and it's kind of scaring him a little bit. So one day, the man and his wife decide to go down to the cellar to get, I believe, a bottle of wine or something like that. And so they're walking down the steps, and the wife is already down the steps, and the man is walking down the steps, and as he's walking down the steps, the cat is going down, and he trips the guy up. And the guy gets so angry that he pulls a axe out of the room, and he goes to, you know, axe the cat. And the wife blocks his way of you know, putting the axe to the cat. And so the guy gets angry that his wife interfered, and he basically buries the axe in her head. And so that's really gross. And so the wife dies, and the man gets really scared, and he's like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I can't get caught, I can't get found out. And he decides to put his wife inside of the walls of the cellar, and there's like a little open wall that you can kind of take away, and so he decides to put her in there and then close up the wall and clean everything up and go back to normal. And after he does this, he's looking around for the cat. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna kill this cat. I don't like this cat, and it's just caused a lot of trouble in my life. And so he goes to look for the cat, and the cat's gone. The cat's completely disappeared. And so for the next day, the guy is actually pretty happy. He sleeps well, because there's no cat or anything. He seems to be completely normal. And so people start to ask questions, and you know, people start to ask questions, and they're asking, you know, well, what happened to your wife and stuff, and he keeps, you know, kind of pushing them away, you know, oh, she went somewhere, she went on a trip, she's going to see her family, stuff like that. And eventually people are not buying it. And so the police come by, and they come to search his home. And the guy gets kind of scared, but he's ultimately pretty confident that they're not going to find anything, because she's hidden in the cellar, and that's way down, you know, that's way down below. There's no way that they can find her. So they're searching the house, and they decide to go down into the cellar to take a look. And so the guy, he lets them down there and stuff, and they're looking around and everything, and they don't find anything. And so they're like, okay, well, we're sorry, you know, we put you through all this, we're sorry about your loss, we'll leave you alone. And they're walking up the steps of the cellar, and they're getting ready to head out, and so the guy, for some reason, he gets kind of cocky, and he starts to talk about the structure of his house and how his house was built and how strong it was built. And he starts to talk about the walls of the cellar. And he's like, well, you know, these walls, they're so strong, you know, they're such good quality, good craftsmanship and everything. And he decides to knock on one of the walls. And he knocks on one of the walls, and a sound comes out. And it's kind of like a meow. It's like meow. And a little meow comes out of the wall, and the police officers are looking like, what? And the guy is looking like, oh no. And so the police officers, they go and they take the wall down, and there inside of the wall is his dead wife, like decaying and stuff, and the cat standing on top of her head, looking at the man like, ha, gotcha. And so the guy gets taken to jail, and he's very upset. To say the least. And so that's the story. It's a very gruesome story. If you know Edgar Allan Poe, you know that he writes stuff like that. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really interesting story, to say the least. And so that's my retelling of a narrative. I hope you enjoyed.